Well, we're going to have another showdown. We now do government by the perils of Pauline, where we tie something to the railroad tracks and have a huge catastrophic deadline and then scramble to get to it. I think both sides will claim a victory here. The Democrats get their vote on DACA in the Senate. The House is a different story. And the Republicans can say they won, the Democrats back down, the government continues. But in essence, it's a punt. They're just buying time.
What kind of damage do you think is done to either party at this point? I mean, in theory, Republicans control every house of Congress. So in theory, this shouldn't happen. And yet, President Trump's been pretty good about the messaging about what's at stake here, considering either side. Do you think either side suffers in any way, or what?
Well, my guess is, and we'll see how it plays out, that it's bad for anybody in Washington because, yet again, more dysfunction. Now, on one hand, as you say, the Republicans own everything, so maybe they'll get some blame. I think the bigger risk for Republicans, because they kind of had the good part of the argument here, open the damn government. But President Trump is so unpopular, record levels of unpopularity, that as a known villain, he may catch more hell for this. People will blame him for bad weather or anything that goes wrong because he's already disliked. So I don't think there are any real political winners here. In D.C., the scorekeeping, I think, will favor the Republicans because the Democrats kind of back down. But now the Democrats get a vote on an issue that's going to be very big in the midterm elections. 75% of people are where they and some of the Republicans are on DACA, and they get to prosecute that and maybe fork the Republicans in a corner. So I think both sides can see win. I got
to say, I think that by November, nobody will remember whether the government shut for 3 days over the weekend in January. But be that as it may, I wonder what you think of the stock market's reaction, or more pointedly, non-reaction to any of this. In fact, right now, the major indexes are at record highs. Is the reason this government shutdown didn't matter to investors that, A, we've seen it all before, or B, that the debt ceiling wasn't balled up in this somehow, and if you get that complication in, then it really starts to matter because investors get nervous?
Well, I agree with what you said before. I don't think on November this will matter a lot because we're kind of used to these. They're baked in, but having the immigration issue big could help the Democrats. Now, to your question, I think it's a mix of things. I think we're used to them and it's baked in. And I also, hey, I'm a value investor. I see a market that's forgotten about risk. You know, we could have North Korean tanks spinning around in Iowa and it may not slow this market down. So part of it is just kind of the animal spirits, the tax cut. The good news is overwhelming the bad right now.
You don't think that's a bit of an exaggeration? I mean, I get the joke you're trying to make, but profits are up. They're going to be even higher because of the tax cut. I mean, what the markets wanted, the markets got, right? I mean, there's not much more they need at this point.
On the policy side, the markets are happy because they get the regulatory repeal where the Trump administration has done a lot. They get the tax cut. I mean, there's plenty the policy machine has given them to be happy about. But overall, I think there's a strong case. We got an extremely happy market now that doesn't seem that oriented to geopolitical or other political risk.
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.